Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to Cloud Test Lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
See, let's say if you're using struts long stack, you can say, HTTP struts.apache.org/tag-logic. Or you can extract the TLD, or let's say you have the TLD, a taglet is a TLD, and that TLD you can, let's say, keep it in your WebINF folder, and you can refer it here as a URI. You can say /WebINF/logic tags.tld. You can specify it as a URI. It's just on how to, where the tags are present. It's as simple as that.
Okay. It's probably like when we'll be learning more about this in struts, I'll understand it better.
Usually we have a link. Usually when you're using a JSP tag or a strut tag, we have like the HTTP that specific tag which holds it. We can specify it, or when we have the TLDs in the current project, like, as part of our project, let's say in a WebINF folder, or if we have the TLD is present, we can refer that part in the URI also. You understand? Hope everyone understands what I'm saying. You can have a TLD file, a taglet direct file, a TLD file, and you can include that in the URI. Let's say I have it in a web content folder or in a WebINF folder, and I can include that here.
Okay. So you know what? If you have a TLD file with you, can you open or otherwise, can we take a look at it from the web or somewhere? And I think that will help me understand.
Yes, the struts taglet jar, when we extract the jar, it has TLD files inside. You can just go to web, say, struts taglet jar. If you just download struts taglet jar, and if you extract the jar has TLD files inside it. Folks, everyone, you could just try doing this. Manoj, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can just go to that and say download struts taglet jar, and when you extract the jar file, you have the TLD files inside it.
So is it like, you see, it's written here that it's kind of, it's like HTML, XML tags. Like if I want to use SQL inside my JSP, so I can just, it's kind of plugin or something like that. It will provide me something to fetch a database directly.
It's not an API. It's a Java code. You can even write the JDBC code inside it, right? You can connect to the database. It's Java code, right?
Yeah,
if you use just the JSP site, you can have code or the JDBC code inside it, and you can connect to your database, right?
Yeah, what I'm trying to ask is how can I use this taglet? What kind of scenarios I can use this in?
Have you ever used struts by any chance?
Struts? No.
We can say our purpose of different tags have their own functionalities built with them. if you want to iterate through a collection in my page, right, I use that logic iterate tag. Right? If you want a text box, there's a specific step tag that's defined for it, or different tag lists. They don't tag for a specific component. You understand what I'm saying? We use different tags for specific functionalities. You have a collection, and if you want to iterate through it, how do you iterate? You can just have a for loop inside a JSP, and that's how we iterate it, right? Because JSP just has a Java content, right? So instead of doing that, you can use, let's say there is a start, we can use the start logic tag, logic colon iterate to iterate to any collection and render it in your page. Right? I mean, there are some tags, but there are some additional functionalities. We could achieve that with the JSP because the tag themselves have written the content. But instead of doing that, we can just use the tag. It's like for easy use, when do we generate a custom tag, right? Even the step tags are the custom tags that are made by the sub people, right? So those tags will be used for software functionalities. We will see step tags when we learn structs. I mean, before me going on explaining, what's the exact question? Tell me.
From me, or Sachit?
Anyone, whoever.
Okay, so I had a question. So the question that I was asking, like, how does this file look like, and is it a text file? And another question was, let's say I have to create my own custom tag. How do I create it?
Creating a custom tag is a different thing also. Here we are discussing in the tag list is just using the custom tags. If you want to see about what is TLD, just download the tag list jar, as I have already mentioned. Extract the jar, you see TLD files in it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, probably when we do struts, then I'll take a look at this.
Yeah, or you can just, like even when we are using struts, we just don't open the TLD file and, look at it. If you're just interested and saying you could extract the struts tag list jar file, extract the TLDs from the, you get the TLDs and you can have a look at it.
Yeah. The thing is, actually, I haven't used JSP at all, and I don't know how important, like, how friendly is this while coding, or like, is this used very often? So that's why.
You mean the custom tags or the JSP?
The tag lib directive, yes.
See, coding with, the JSP gets simpler when we are using any tag lib. Why do we use a custom tag? Then there's a functionality that is not right away provided with the JSP. We use a different tag lib or a different tag, right? So the same example I've given, like, when you want to iterate a collection in a JSP, you have to write a for loop and, do all this logic. But if you're using any custom tags like logic iterate, we just give the collection to it and it's responsible of iterating and doing all that. That's the purpose of the custom tags. The custom tags always makes it. The custom tag always makes the developer life easy by having some kind of functionalities that's right away achievable than writing your own code for that.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to make it a custom in a specific tag? I just always want to print it as hello. Custom tag is
I think that this is clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this
I understood the point. Actually, my initial doubt was, like, in case I have to create my own, how do I create it? But now, like, understanding this further, it seems like it will be like, very, very rare scenario we might have to create. So.
Actually, in like before the mention of this framework, not framework, framework like certs or JSP tags, there was more into the creation of the custom tags, but it's like it has, the creation of custom tags has come down after the emergence of this technology, like strut tag or prominently used JSP tags, right? So whatever you want to do it, they have created as a custom tags and provided to us, right? Let's say you can think of it as a framework that's built on top of JSP tags. I'm telling you as an analogy, right? You can achieve with a servlet, but you have a struct. You don't create servlets. Struct has already created servlet, and you just configure it, right? Same way, these tags has some functionality that wraps the JSP. That wraps some functionality that you want to achieve in your application.
Understood.
That's the purpose of tagline. And we were discussing about the JSP implicit objects. There are some objects that are available in JSP implicitly. So we don't need to create those objects. Those are predefined variables that are there, and JSP has 9 implicit objects: the request, the response, the HTTP request and HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response objects that are associated with the request and response that is sent from the client, or the request sent from the client or the response returned back, and the out object. So it's a print writer object which is used to send output to the client, and the HTTP session object, that's a session object that is associated with the specific request. And the application is a servlet context object associated throughout the application. It's a servlet context object. And config is a servlet config object. And the page context object, it tracks the JSP writers. It's more used for better performance. If you're using some kind of a service-specific features, like some kind of a tooling and all that, the page context is used. And page, it's like a synonym for this when we use it in a Java word. In Java, we say this to the currently calling object, right? And this is used to call the methods defined in the specific Java class. Same way, this is a kind of page is a kind of synonym to this. And we have the exception object that allows exception data to be accessed. Let's say even in a JSP, you can have there can be some kind of exceptions that are raised, right? So we can access the exception data in the JSP page. So these are the objects that are implicitly available, like kind of a predefined variables, right? When you have an object in a JSP, we have some variables, reference variables that point to this object, right? So these are 9 implicit objects that are defined. It doesn't need any R code intervention for the creation of these objects. So, and that is the reason we call them as the implicit objects. So, see, when we say page, right, we have made an analysis with this, right? What could this be? This can be of any object type, right? If I'm using this in a student class, that's going to be a student object. When I'm using this, let's say, in an appointment instance class, it's an object of appointment instance, right? So that this could be a page. This can point to any class object, and it refers to the instance of the servlet that is generated from the JSP. The JSP, when it's converted to a servlet, right? The page refers to that specific object of the generated servlet. So the page context is an abstract class, and the JSP engine vendor, let's say, where does they have the JSP engine? We have it in the server. We have it in a Tomcat or a WebLogic or WebSphere. So they have their own implementation for the concrete subclass of the page context. The page context is an abstract class, and it's the vendor specific implementation is provided for the concrete subclass. So what is page context do? It has a reference to the implicit object. So, using the page context, we can set different attributes in different scopes, like, the page scope, or we have certain scopes that are defined in a JSP. So, and from the page context, we can transfer the request to a different resource, let's say to another JSP, or let's say another servlet in a web application. That request can be transferred using the page context. So folks, any doubts on this before we move ahead in the implicit object or the difference between a page and page context? This is very important. Not just for the interview, even when you code, you should understand the purpose of a page and the page context. Sorry?
I thought my computer hanged up.
I'm just giving some time for everyone to ask some questions. Maybe once you read and go through it, right? You get more doubts probably. Because I'm just giving some last notes, because I don't want someone to start questions at the end of the class, because even I might be like rushing to answer the question, so that I'm just giving a pass, so that you can ask questions like not only in JSP or serverless, even previous topics. I think
have a
yeah.
Question. Actually, me and Sakit were discussing about this thing, about struts and Spring. So basically, both are framework for MVC. That's what we know. Basically, we didn't work in the content at all. So what we're discussing was, if we have a Spring, which is the latest one, we are learning struts. And what's the difference then? That's what we didn't have the answer at that time.
See, what do you mean by latest, right? You say Spring is latest, but there are some advantages, wherein you want to use struts. But sometimes, even though the project needs, like the Spring is a better choice, people just stick with it because they have been using it, and they just stick with it. For example, let's say if you want to integrate with any ORM framework like Hibernate, right? Spring is of course a better choice than struts, because Spring has an API. It has some modules which is specifically returned for integration with Hibernate. It has certain API, means it has, when say an API, it has some set of classes and interfaces for integration with Hibernate, which Struts doesn't provide, right?
Yeah.
In that scenario, we have to go with Spring. But if there is some project that's written in Struts and people are using it, right? So the people are already used to Struts, and trust me, many managers are very reluctant to change technologies. So
it's like if we are learning struts, because we already know, we already going through servlets and JSP. Now we learn struts, and then we're moving to Spring. So won't it confuse us? I mean, it will be confusing, right? Because we are learning struts, and after that we are going to Spring. Or is there
it depends on how you practice, and whenever you are learning, if you try to make a difference. Okay, I learned serverless and I learned JSP. What's the difference between these two? If I want to do an application, how do I do in the JSP and how do you do in a servlet? You should have the comparison, right? Let's say, we're using struts, what's the configuration that you need to do? When we are learning, we have to write notes in such a way that we don't get confused, right? It's individual's ability to learn many things at the same time.
Okay.
It differs from person to person.
Okay.
Right. And of course, I completely agree on learning all the one after the other. It needs more hard work. And if you are already working and very busy, you might not get more time to practice and learn all those things. Let's try to see some examples. I mean, it's the basic understanding or the knowledge that you get. But building on top of it is what not only you, everyone has to practice, right?
That's right. That's right.
So that's where when I just explain it, like many students, what they come and say to me is they understand everything when I explain in the class, but when they go back and when they try to do it, they were not able to do it. But they were able to understand everything when I explain. I mean, I always tell this in the class, understanding something doesn't mean that you can do it on your own, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm just explaining, you're understanding it, but you don't have all the steps at the top of your head on what needs to be taken care, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So that comes only when we practice. I don't say when we. It includes everyone, even the best architects in the world. So it's just with practice.
So Neha, to understand Spring better, what all is needed? Like one is Hibernate, as you said, and then
For understanding Spring, we don't need to know Hibernate. See, Spring has different modules and 7 modules or 7 layers. Any project uses a max of 3 or a max of 4, right? So it's specific. You use specific part of Spring on what you are interested in, on what you want to do. Actually, when you're saying a module of Spring, let's say ORM, which is used to integrate with Hibernate, you don't need to know Hibernate, but it tells you on how do you integrate with Hibernate, right? We learn Hibernate, so the starting is a session factory, right? When you get hold of the session factory, you can do the stuff that's through Hibernate, right? So the ingesting or getting off the session factory, I think someone has emailed me asking for a Spring Hibernate integration project. Is it Saroj? I don't remember, or Twinkle. I don't remember exactly.
Okay, and how about Servlet? So is knowledge of Servlet required for Spring?
You understand it better from the code when we know Servlet, but I know many people who work directly on Spring without knowing much about Servlet.
Yeah, because I'm not like very confident in Servlet and JSP, so that's why I was asking all these things. So obviously, I think JSP won't be involved at all, right? Or will it be?
When you're writing some code, you should understand how the tags work, right? I mean, it's just a basic knowledge. As I'm saying, there are people who directly start to work on a framework like Spring. I mean, in my experience, I started working with Spring, and then I worked with Struts, and then I had to do a project which is with the plain JSP and servlets. It's just we try to work on the project that we get actually. So when I get a project in Spring, I cannot sit back, I cannot just lie back and learn serverless JSP and come back to Spring, right? Not only me, no one can do that, right? But when we learn deep into servlet, okay, this is the life cycle of the servlet, that's how it works. Then you try to correlate, okay, we are configuring this specific servlet in Spring, probably this is doing this, and that might be happening behind the scenes. That analysis comes into our mind.
Mm-hmm.
But coding, if you want to code with Spring, it's not that hard and fast. You have to have good knowledge about servlets and Spring. No, we're just talking about the popular thing, just like Spring dependency injection or inversion of control, right? It's nowhere related with servlets. Spring is based on a code, like the plain old Java object, right? You don't need to know anything about a JSP or a servlet. It's just like a core Java knowledge on how the variables and differences work. That's enough to learn Spring dependency injection.
Okay.
The purpose of framework is that you don't need to write servlets, or you don't really need to bother about the life cycle. That's what the frameworks are more meant for, right?
Yeah.
See, why do we have frameworks? Frameworks are something which makes developers' life easy, right? Developing the same application with servers takes more time than doing in a step, right? Mm-hmm. It's like.
Yeah. So, and what will you be teaching next? So, you'll be teaching JUnit, right?
Yes, I think someone has requested to have JUnit. Probably, we can have JUnit after JSP. There's no, anyone doesn't have any concerns. So we can learn JUnit. I'm planning to have JUnit after JSP. So folks, please let me know if you have any concerns. But the plan is having JUnit after JSP. After we complete JSP, my plan is to have JUnit.
So Neha, could you please send that servlet and JSP example code so we can practice it?
I haven't sent the servlet code. Okay. I'll email the servlet.
Okay, thank you.
The entire servlet project, we have different servlet, the navigation of login into it. I have it as a single project. I'll send it to everyone. Everything is part of the servlet, the filters and listeners, all the examples are part of this. I'll email it to everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Tomorrow we'll be discussing about the JSP, different, JSP codes, and then, I think we have already discussed about the send, redirect, and forward, because I was doing an example when we use servlets. We'll just recollect it, refresh it, and we will be discussing the JSPL. It's a custom tag. It's widely used. So we'll be discussing about a specific tag like this. So it has different code tags, formatting tags, different tags. So that's what we'll be discussing tomorrow, and I'll send you the servlet code so that you could practice on top of it. But folks, even you have the project that I send you, try to create your own project and try to have it. Right? If you're just using it, you don't really understand, each and every step or each and everything that's needed. So create a new project and try to do this stuff on your own so that you will get it better. Okay, folks, if you don't have any doubts, let's call it a day and we'll meet tomorrow. Folks, I request all of you to practice as per your permitted time. Okay, folks, thanks for attending the class and good night, everyone.
Right.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website H2KInfosys.com. On our website H2KInfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.